Hi, Lucian. How are you doing?
Doing well, Kalyan. Good to see you again.
Good to see you. Hope you had a safe travels. You've just returned from Bangkok, so please tell us what's the scene there? What's the energy like from the
Yes,
CXO
thanks.
circle?
First off, thank you for the opportunity to be part of the CXO Circle, and thank you, the Infinite Time. So I'll frame my experience in the context of the panel I moderated, which uh, what each panelist represented the voices from the manufacturing end users. So there's at least a couple of them. They're on a panel discussion, the academia, and then the technology coming together. So the CXO Circle brought together people that actually ran the factory, not just talk about them. You could feel shift happening. Leaders weren't there to just debate whether AI belongs to manufacturing. They're there to figure out how to make it work at scale. And there are people on the 3 months journey. There are people for several years with multi plants in the room. It's no wonder that my team generates now, based on those interviews, 2 to 3 articles on it. So we've had your co-CEO, Karthik. We had Ganesh Babu from Indrama Venture that represented the manufacturing side, some of them managing dozens of plants and people. Then we had a gentleman from Jabil Circuit, which gave the operational leadership view, shaping how AI is changing day-to-day maintenance and his journey in 3 months with infinite uptime. And then we have an outside-in perspective from Professor Du from Hanyang University that added that outside perspective from academic and systems perspective, connected what's being learned in the industry and what's being taught in the classroom. So just the discussion unfolded across 4 critical segments:
Hmm.
challenges in
Hmm.
implementation, the ROI, outcomes and risks, and pretty much actionable items.
Okay. And if I have to ask you, you must have done hundreds of panels and interviews, and you're there in the industry for like good 2.5 decades now. What is it that caught your attention in terms of a theme that you didn't realize that it was there, but it is pretty much visible there in that event?
Yeah, so one of the area that I came away is really the ability to gain trust from the software that we use. When we talk about a plant or a maintenance department or multi-plants, things could get complex very, very quickly with multiple software, multiple technologies in there. But having that ability to look at some of the feedback from various companies, what was their downtime there? What was the impact? That could build instant trust. So to uh, kind of take it home, it's like imagine having a software in your computer that it gives you an ROI of the time you spend there. So that's one of the themes that I like there. So.
Hmm. Thank you. Very interesting. And if you could actually help us understand what would be the adoption milestones when you say that you actually have ROI and the software is helping them clearly get the value. But what are the adoption milestones? What are the challenges that they face, and how easy or how difficult it is for them to arrive at that value?
Right. So I'll frame in the context the feedback that we got from the end users. I've been 20 years in industrial software working with various people, but these are folks that are doing it now. And the number one theme was mindset. Everyone agreeing the biggest barrier isn't the technology, it's people, right? So it's the mindset resistant, just like the Sukamaran from Jabil identify overcoming that human mindset as the biggest roadblock. Now, from skepticism in the upper management to fear of job displacement among the technicians. Resistance to change is pervasive. So here we counter how initial disbelief in powerful AI system at Jabil was overcome only by demonstrating actual capabilities and potential. So that was actually echoed by, certainly the feedback that we got from Karthik as he works with multiple vendors along those lines that are adopting software to maximize value from existing investments of IoT and cloud analytics and others. And then I guess Ganesh Babu from Indorama pointed the critical challenge is, many digital transformation investments fail to yield the expected benefits at ROI. So this often stems from companies adopting buzzwords like Industry 4.0 AI without truly understanding. So that was at least what the key was, as he stressed, is selecting the right tool and solution that generally creates value. So that one of the things that he was super enthusiastic about.
Hmm. Seems interesting. So, but no discussion is complete without actually evaluating the risks. So let's come to the dark side a little bit. So, if you could please help us understand what are the top three risks that you have seen, and how do you think in this particular discussion that you had with the CXOs over there in Bangkok, how do you think they actually mitigated some of the risks actively and proactively?
Yeah, and again, every transformation carries risk. You know, some of the concerns, what concern they did share about speed and scale and sustainability and sustaining adoption. I guess the end user were very candid about, which is what I liked. First, scaling too fast could backfire. Several panelists advised starting with critical assets only and show results and then grow the adoption. Certainly, the data adoption came up. Corporate IT teams worry about cloud exposure, so platforms that are isolated and secure, like the Plant OS, are key. At least from the two end users on a panel, but also several people in the room that came across. Now, the other one that was interesting that it came up about the risk of obsolescence of technology, and of course, Karthik articulated very well how there's not only rapid adoption but also significant investment on it. And although the panel discussion was short, I didn't want to interrupt them, but I think one of the areas that type of a risk could also be mitigating with, at least in North America, is with escrow agreements. I certainly, going back in my career, benefited from uh, being with a vendor that at some point was acquired, and essentially that code became available to the right OEMs that continue the investment. So that's just another way to mitigate risk. Like if the concern is relying on one vendors for technology like the Plant OS.
Hmm.
And of course, no doubt about it, the human risk also came out, the over reliance on tools like AI. It shouldn't replace the judgment. So there was, I think, across the board, both from the end users and from the outside in perspective, from the academic perspective and consultant that Dr. Dew brought in. I still need engineers that can interpret and act on these prescriptions. So.
I think the last point that you just touched upon is pretty much one of the strongest topics that is going on around currently. Is AI going to replace human beings? And that is first half of that particular concern. The second half is to mitigate that and see it for what it is. Process contextualization,
Mhm.
ultimately decision making assistance. In your opinion, what is it that the customers that you have met are doing it right to make sure that the decision making that they have is well assisted and it is not really threatening the users over there, but it is helping them make better decisions and faster interventions?
I think is demand for transparency and trust, right? So certainly digital transformation has to start from the top, but the moment you draw in the people, technicians that would rely on these tools, that builds trust on the tools, I think that came across as one of the successful. So that goes with that culture and investments in the human aspect of the tool as well. So they can build trust on a software. So yeah.
Okay, going to each persona, not necessarily giving it as a top-down push, but really understanding what are the user challenges and going to each persona and their respective problems. Cool.
Right.
Right. Thank you so much, Lucian. Really, really, that's a very interesting summary of the CXO circle.
Thank you. Now, I want to turn the table on you. To me, when I
Oh,
went up there with somewhat of a baggage of 20 years in industrial software and some of the buzzwords that were leveraged, right? And I think you, as a responsible for global marketing, you have a tough challenge, right? To take this in not just Asian continent over multiple plants, but take it into regions like North America where words had been used and perhaps fell short of implementation. I want to see how do you accelerate, or at least if you can uh, give me a peek as to how do you accelerate the adoption across regions where these buzzwords have been overused, as we've talked about, from systems that were under delivered, and how do you build the momentum from the breakthrough innovation award that you recently won?
wow. There are several questions loaded in there. At least I got three of them. So I will go one by one. The first one is the most important one, which is how do we avoid the buzzword part? I think at Infinite Uptime, we are trying to focus on one key lever, which is we follow an onion layered model. Everything we do in our business model and in our software platform, the whole, both the technical as well as the commercial part, if we follow an onion layered model, keeping the user validation in the center of it. Everything and anything is a function of what the user wants. Let me explain. When we say outcome, it's a combination of what is that the KPI, if it is an MTBF, MTTR, or an energy per ton, or specific power consumption reduction targets that a user might have, whether it is the maintenance side of it or the energy efficiency side of it, or on the plant head side of it, throughput. Each of these KPIs requires a change in the ways of working. Like you rightly pointed out, a change in mindset and upskilling and a readiness from the management to change the processes gradually and not in a disruptive way. So this is something that we try to follow. And what does it translate into in the engagement model? It We do not focus more on the tech part of it. We start from the goal, from the what are the goals, and from those goals we try to triangulate what is the right combination of baselining and benchmarking to be done. And once we have the baseline and benchmark of the operations, then we actually assess them and make sure that the ideal operating window of their MTBF and their specific power consumption is secured. And this is not done in a yearly once way. We actually follow something internally, and we are actively promoting it externally, something called show and grow, meaning we have to show the value to our customers, the users, every week, every month, every quarter. So long as we keep showing the value, we keep growing. And this is juxtaposed to the most popular model that you see today: land, expand, and explode, which is most of the industrials as and AI companies follow this, where the focus is more on how fast is the adoption growing. Whereas for us, the focus is on how much they're using us. And let me give
Hmm.
you a stat. In the last quarter, 4,186 prescriptions are generated. And you'll be surprised to know that the number of prescriptions that were acted upon are 4,096. Meaning, in any given quarter, if there are 100 prescriptions that are being generated, an equal number, almost 99 prescriptions are also acted upon. Bear in mind that these prescriptions, some of them might be within the quarter or some of them could be from the previous quarter. But more or less, if we see the lifetime history till date, we have whatever we have generated, all the prescriptions, it has 95% of them are already acted upon. That is what defines show and grow. And when you put the accuracy of prescription at 99.97%, which is 0.03 percentage times we miss it. I'm sorry if I'm actually giving you a little bit of technical and data numbers, but user validation if I don't want to use the buzzword and I follow clearly a science rational based approach and combine it with the emotional ROI part of it, that is where the true impact of show and grow is really felt. And the breakthrough innovation award is precisely a reflection of that,
Before you go
where
there with the through the word, I wanted to double click on something you said. So show and grow, and you mentioned about validation that 99.9
9/7
acted
that's
upon type of action.
yeah.
Is that transparent? In other words, if I start adopting a tool like yours,
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
get visibility of what other plants may have done, and explain to me a little bit when you say your layer approach or onion approach.
I think there are two ways in which you should look at it. Number one, let's take the use case of a user. For
Hmm.
example, you are a maintenance manager.
Yep.
Okay. And a maintenance manager who is responsible for, uh, let's say two lines in a cement plant, and you're actually managing these two lines, and there is another colleague who is managing the third line. Okay, imagine there are
Hmm.
three, and out of which the first two lines are the ones which are always there, let's say the utilization rate is very high and the customer for whatever reason has chosen to apply our technology, and they gave us the opportunity to optimize these two lines. Now in this scenario, and the third and the other line where you don't have a high utilization, but you don't use this because they feel it is non-critical. Yeah. So what here is a place where you can actually feel the difference very clearly in two parameters. Number one, the transparency that you're talking about in terms of what is the MTBF that you start with. You, Lucian, who's the maintenance manager on the first two lines, it gets baselined very clearly in the first 2 3 weeks, and and as a moving average, you will always see whether your MTBF is increasing or decreasing. This is first transparency. Second transparency, if it is a line which okay, inside the line, if you're talking about whether it is a kiln or vertical roller mill, depends on the area of the plant. And if you want to benchmark within the sites, for example, between these three lines, is this the best VRM that is operating, or is this the best kiln that is operating? That is one type of benchmarking. The other type of benchmarking that you also have thanks to the platform is that you can also, because we have been doing several cement plants globally, you have an opportunity to benchmark against most of the plants. What is the ideal performance? And this is something which is coming in your prescriptions. How? Is there, when you try to see, is there an opportunity for a report that is generated where your MTBF can be optimized? It will not compare just within the site. It will also help you compare with the global benchmark of all the install base that it has. So you are actually leveraging the true power of what could be a better performance outside and getting prescriptions contextualized and compared with that as well. So on
Got it.
both counts, you can really, really feel the value.
Thank you for that explanation there. And now maybe just talk a little bit about the how you plan to leverage this award, that the Breakthrough Innovation Award.
Yeah, as I was saying, Breakthrough Innovation Award is actually a reflection of the user validation approach and the show and grow. Why? Because a good AI is good only if you have good and trusted data. And
Hmm.
this is precisely something that we try to apply in our company. Why we have uh, MEMS-based sensors in vibration, and we also have piezoelectric sensors, and we have battery-based sensors, we have batteryless sensors, and the award that we have here is the world's smallest piezoelectric sensor, which does three things in one go, which is number one, triaxial vibration, number two, temperature, and number three, RPM. All the three power packed in a sensor, which is it is just like it is even smaller in my palm. It's less than one fourth of my palm. So I'm sorry, I don't have it currently with me. but maybe next time I'll bring it along. But this is the breakthrough innovation that why is it breakthrough? Because of two factors. Number one, mining is a very, very tough industry, mining and metals. It is extreme environment, and henceforth, you cannot replace it if you put a battery based sensor, and you cannot go back and always go to those remote locations to replace it. Number two is when you try to have continuous stream of data, the contextualization that you can get from the highly sensitive piezoelectric sensor, you can the quality of the granularity data is something that is a direct impact on the quality of the prescription. So even if your model has a great true positive and FN rate, if you're on the best side, but if the data is not really good, then you have a very high possibility of missing an event. And this is why in metals and mining this was considered a breakthrough innovation, that it actually solves the extreme environment problem, the granularity of the data problem, and it works seamlessly in any possible scenario, whether it is high surface temperature or ultra slow speed equipment. So practically the amount of equipment that you can cover in metals and mining is everything. Literally you can cover it.
Thank you. And I think that folks in the audience could get a little more exposure in December 10th. There was a session with an end user as well that's going to be focused on this technology as well as how it may be applied in cement plants or others.
Absolutely. I just took an example, and I'm personally looking forward to this particular event in December. And I request each of your audience to please be there. Uh, I personally feel your sessions, doesn't matter if it's our session or other sessions, are always very insightful, and precisely for the same word that you just used, no buzzwords. Easy, simple, pragmatic. And that is what we really need. And I'm personally looking forward to attending the session in December.
All right. Thanks.